Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Coal Scene. Joining me today is West Virginia's National Guard Adjutant General, James Hoyer. We're going to be talking about a new and exciting partnership between the Guard and the West Virginia's coal industry, particularly as it relates to developing some of our post-mine lands into usable, functional sites for the Guard to take advantage of. Joining me in the studio is Major General James Hoyer. General, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for taking time to be with us here today and to talk some about this partnership and about our new Fort West Virginia. We appreciate you taking the time. Why don't we start and talk a little bit about the Guard generally, how it fits into our military profile. And
okay, we have 6,500 men and women in the West Virginia National Guard. We have 2 air wings, a C-5 strategic airlift wing, a C-130 tactical airlift wing, and Army units that range from special forces to engineers to military police and across the spectrum. And this particular working relationship initiative with the coal industry relates around making sure that our folks are prepared and trained to do both their homeland security and their overseas mission. And part of our broader initiative that we call Joint Base West Virginia.
I think I referred to it as Fort West Virginia. Do we also refer to it on
Yes,
occasions?
and that was the original term that we used was Fort West Virginia. We've modified it to Joint Base West Virginia to ensure that we encompass all services, because not only do we have Army and Air Guard units in West Virginia, but some of the things that we're doing now support the Navy, the Marine Corps, and some of our interagency partners like the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Coast Guard, and others.
You said there's 6,500 West Virginians that currently on active duty with the Guard?
Well, the 6,500 men and women who are part of the Guard, about 2,500 of our folks are full-time. The balance are traditional Guardsmen who work in everything from the coal industry to lawyers, doctors, plumbers. We run the spectrum of folks and a wide variety of career fields who also do their military service just as the original militiamen did back at the founding of our nation.
Well, I think everyone would observe that the role of the Guard has become increasingly important today, not only as it relates to aiding our military, as you briefly described, but also with respect to helping out with disasters on the mainland. And I know this has been a terribly busy time for you in the Guard as you help out with flood relief this immediate past week, and a couple weeks ago as we were talking all the devastation done by a couple of unique tornadoes that come through our state.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we as the Guard have come full circle. From the foundation of the nation through World War II, the Guard and Reserve were the traditional militia were the main components of what made up this nation's defense. And then during the Cold War that shifted a little bit, but now because of just the sheer economics of that, I think the Guard has become even more important. And that what you mentioned is another great working relationship between the industry and the Guard. In the past couple of natural disaster events in West Virginia, we've had industry folks and the Guard and the Division of Highways working side by side to restore roads, to help bring streams back to the appropriate level of standard in order to make sure that our citizens were taken care of.
Well, that response has been quick. It's been thorough, and I think everyone involved, recognizes the role that the guards play, and hopefully, in some small way, our industry has contributed to those relief efforts as well. I know when we make the call, and a lot of times you don't have to make the call, but when you do make the call and you ask for a dozer or a couple trucks or some equipment, people are really quick to lend a helping hand in those situations. And
absolutely. A great example is Shot Rock, and we've are working with a couple of the industry members right now on making sure that we have the appropriate supplies available to make sure we can bring stability back as quickly as possible in conjunction with our partners at the Division of Highways.
Well, let's focus on Joint Base Fort West Virginia. What's it look like on paper? What's all the pieces, and how do they fit together?
Well, the broader concept is to use the National Guard and this construct of Joint Base West Virginia to create opportunities for men and women to live and raise their families in West Virginia and serve a national mission, whether that's the Homeland Security mission or the overseas warfighting mission. And it's broken down into those components: training and be prepared to help fight our nation's wars overseas, being prepared to help address the Homeland Security needs, and also other unique capabilities like maintenance work and things that we can do in a cost-effective, timely manner. And what we do is we look and identify where there are gaps and needs in Homeland Security and national security requirements, and we put West Virginia ingenuity and common sense to that and do it in a cost-effective, timely manner. And we're a nation that has a $15.5 trillion deficit. We can't afford to reduce our defense or Homeland Security capability because we still have the potential of threats from Iranians and others who would potentially want to do harm to our nation. So this particular partnership with the coal industry is to be able to identify where there are post-mine use opportunities for us to build training capabilities or other unique capabilities that become cost-effective, timely solutions to those national defense needs. And I think the key thing from my standpoint is we have programs, for example, the MRAP training track that we have, the Advanced Mobility Quarter that we have in Kanawha County, that we know that training is saving service members' lives overseas because they're more capable to being able to do their job quickly, effectively, and safely.
You mentioned the MRAP facility here in Kanawha County. I recall and was present during the dedication last fall to that site. And then I had an opportunity a month or so to return back, and it seemed to have really matured. It's very well utilized. And Pritchard Mining was the mining partner, and Andrew Jordan and his team at that facility, and I was just amazed at the level of detail and the purpose, I guess the utility and purpose that really serves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have some video that shows the what goes on there and the things that are occurring, and we're training Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, some interagency partners who have to travel overseas are taking advantage of this, and this is something that we could not have been able to cost effectively put together without taking advantage of this post-mine use capability. And the landowner, Pardee, and the industry partner with Andrew and Warren and what they've done have allowed us to do that in a very cost-effective way. And I think the most significant thing, again, in my mind, is we can replicate a wide variety of terrains because we have to go across the globe to be able to do a variety of missions. But the key thing is this is making our soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines more capable to do their job in a more safe environment, and we are in fact saving lives. So it's a great opportunity of what we in West Virginia can do, putting together that ingenuity and common sense and filling a true gap in training that's out there right now to protect folks. And the interesting thing is these MRAP vehicles can withstand up to a 500-pound improvised explosive device. But one of the things that we found out early after the fielding of these pieces of equipment is because folks did not have the training on how to drive these vehicles with a high center of gravity, they were rolling the vehicles over, and we were losing American service members to rollover accidents. And that's just totally unacceptable. And we came up with a West Virginia solution to this, and we're leading the nation in this training.
Well, this is a prime example also of reconfiguring the land to facilitate a post-mine land use while that equipment's there.
Absolutely. And the cost-effective value of doing that, it would have cost millions and millions of dollars for the government to recreate this capability from scratch, and what we're doing is taking advantage of that opportunity and doing something really unique that's going to help us as a nation be more secure.
So we're basically as a state serving our country in a couple different ways. You know, one is the number of West Virginians that are dispatched to foreign territories and serving our armed forces, and the second is we're using our native land here in West Virginia, partnering with the mining industry to make a first-class training facility so that those men and women are better prepared to meet their challenges.
Absolutely, and it creates economic opportunity after the mining process, because we're bringing people from across the country and in some cases from across the world to train on these locations. So they're spending money in our West Virginia economy. We're getting money to put West Virginia Guardsmen to work full-time to man these training facilities. So it creates some economic opportunity beyond the mining process.
What's a typical training program? What kind of time are we talking about for someone to learn to operate and to run an MRAP?
There are a couple variations of the courses, but normally they'll run a week to 2 weeks in nature. The week-long course is a familiarization course for those who may need to drive but not on a larger scale. And then there's a 2-week course that will include how to recover a vehicle that might be stuck or bogged down. We're actually going to incorporate other National Guard units. We have a medevac helicopter unit. They go in and recently in Afghanistan did a number of rescues in minefields and other areas, so they'll be brought into play. So we'll actually simulate a rollover of a vehicle. We'll bring a helicopter in, we'll send a medic down on a hoist. They'll rescue a patient, and then there's a whole training process that goes through how to right that vehicle and how to bring that vehicle back out of that environment. So a recovery process as well.
I have to ask, looking at the facility that we had on the video that's here in Kanawha County today, and it's truly state-of-the-art, what was being used prior to last fall when this facility was opened up or finalized before, in order to prepare people to operate these MRAPs?
Actually, there was nothing of any significance in the United States, and my Special Forces unit that went into Afghanistan, which is where General Tackett and I came up with this concept, they did their training in a parking lot, flat level parking lot. And then 2 weeks later, we're in Afghanistan on the side of a mountain trying to negotiate that terrain. So that's what led us to this concept of, hey, we've got the ability to configure any type of terrain other than the rainforest, and we can do dense vegetation. It's just not rainforest vegetation, but we can create this and we can make this work in West Virginia. It sits next to the Memorial Tunnel Complex, which in and of itself is a state-of-the-art training range used by first responders, state and local first responders, military first responders, as well as military special operations folks. And the folks that train in the tunnel, some of those folks come from New York City, were the same urban search and rescue units that were the first on the scene at World Trade Center, and tell us it's some of the best training that they've ever had, and as close to real as what they saw at the World Trade Center site.
Well, I know also that there's, there's been a number of training simulations that's been done by the mining industry in the tunnel. There are
Absolutely.
Mine rescue teams, firefighting teams. I think there were also some explosives that were utilized, maybe tested in that facility, and I know some people whose jobs require them to handle and be around explosives and mining also were trained there.
Right, and it's a unique environment because we can replicate a wide variety of scenarios, daytime, nighttime. We've got the ability to simulate smoke, fire, all the things that those first responders are going to have in the way of environmental impact that affect them and their ability to respond more quickly to save lives. And we've trained over 170,000 first responders in that facility.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Well, we looked at the MRAP site here in Kanawha County. As I understand, that's the first of several pieces that'll help construct Joint Base West Virginia. What else is in line, or what else do we have under development?
Another couple of unique partnerships we have with the folks from Consol at FOLA. We have a drop zone. We also have a drop zone going in at Camp Branch in Logan County with Alpha and Natural Resource Partners. And that is in conjunction with the airport at Logan, that at one time was a mine site as well. And those are specifically designed to help our tactical units like the C-130 units to be able to practice short field takeoff and landing, to be able to do the aerial drops that these folks are now doing. As you and I sit here talking, they're in Afghanistan dropping loads, and in order for them to be safe, they've got to be proficient and quick at what they do to stay out of harm's way. If they miss the drop zone, those young men and women on the ground that are waiting for those resupplies are in more danger and in harm's way more frequently. So by having these folks the ability to train in realistic scenarios, environments, they're safer and more proficient, and the folks that they service in these serious combat zones are more able to get their resupply and get out of harm's way more quickly.
Interesting. I understand we have a video that we're going to watch here too. That's that actually shows real life dropping and utility of these drop zones.
We do, and you get to see from the West Virginia Airmen what these capabilities mean to them.
Why don't we look at the video, then we'll come back and talk about it some and some other issues.
Okay.
Today we went to a new drop zone. We dropped 2 CDS bundles and 2 training bundles.
This one's a little harder than the other one. This is going to be good training. This is more kind of like what's typical of our drop zones over in Afghanistan, on the mountains, on the side of the hill, that kind of stuff. So this is going to be a really good training drop zone.
It's important to train how you fight. I mean, if you're not prepared for where you're going, there's no point in going. Luckily for us here in West Virginia, the mountains gives us good training, good simulation for the mountainous terrains we have in Afghanistan and places of that nature.
over in Afghanistan last year as the director of ops, and we had we dropped over 2 million pounds of CDS, ammunition, food, water, that kind of stuff, sustainment to the troops on the ground that were out pushing forward in the fight. And so that's why we practice this. We go over there and drop it for real on our deployments. And this unit here does a great job doing it. We got a good reputation, and you know, been doing it for many years. A lot of these guys here are facing their 8th deployment or so, and you know, they just really do a good job.
I guess when you look at that video and listening to you, General, you realize you know, how precise, how efficient these drops have to be, you know, for the safety and performance of those on the ground awaiting those supplies.
Absolutely. You think those folks, those men and women, are flying those aircraft into hostile enemy territory. There may be air defense systems that they have to work through, small arms fire. You know, we call them the MPADs, the mobile launch systems. All of those things they're having to deal with. They need to get in and out of harm's way quickly. The folks recovering that supply, the ammunition, the food and water, may be dealing with hostile fire as they go in to pick those up. So the more precise and more quickly and efficiently you can do those, the better everybody is on our side.
And with anything, you know, whether it's job or athletics or anything else, you get better by practice, practice, practice.
Absolutely. And if you live here in the Charleston area, and you and I on a regular basis see these aircraft moving and doing that training, these folks leave their jobs as bankers, lawyers, plumbers, carpenters, and they go and they do this training and they get ready to deploy and go to war. And this gives us something right here in our own backyard that we can use, but it also gives us the opportunity to bring units in from other places around the country, because these drop zones like this are few and far between in our nation right now.
So today we have, is there 3 or are there 4 sites on post mine lands that have been done in partnership as part of Joint Base West Virginia?
We have 3 active sites right now. We're looking at some other sites in the future and identifying where there are those gaps and needs, and we can put this into place. And not only does it protect our men and women and others as they do this training, but it's creating economic opportunities for this state after the mining process itself.
Excellent. How many men or women of the Guard are still deployed?
Right now we have the smallest number that we've had since September the 11th, 2001, and that's a little over a couple hundred folks. As we sit here and talk today, we also have almost 200 men and women on state active duty response, responding to the natural disasters that we've faced here in Logan and Lincoln and Marion and other counties. And then we have a couple hundred full-time folks that are working for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and other agencies doing that Homeland Security mission.
I know on behalf of the industry, we're very optimistic and hopeful that our partnership will spill over into the employment opportunities as well, as we look to fulfill a number of job openings, mining openings, you know, within the state.
Yeah, and we have a great partnership going with the coal industry right now. A unique website that's being put in place by a variety of state agencies and partnering with the coal industry, a link to a West Virginia coal site that allows our men and women to go out and look at where the opportunities are and apply online, and we get our folks' preference for those potential positions. And I think the other great opportunity here is a lot of men and women are going to be coming off of active duty in the future as we reduce the size of our forces, and we've got job opportunities in West Virginia. We want to bring these veterans to West Virginia, whether it's back home or here for the first time, and create an even broader tax-paying base in the state of West Virginia.
all that's exciting, and we're looking forward to working with the Guard General as we go forward, trying to place those individuals. Most of the individuals serving in our Guard, display just a very high level work ethic and commitment to the task at hand, and just think there'd be a welcomed opportunity. Going forward. How does one go about joining the Guard today if they were interested?
They can call their local Army or Air National Guard recruiter. They can call our headquarters office in Charleston. We have folks that will work with them and help them identify what potential opportunities exist. I think the other great thing that we have to offer is we have a tuition reimbursement program funded by the governor and the legislature that creates the opportunity for us to pay for these men and women to go to either college or to technical trade school. So for example, the mine management programs at Southern West Virginia Community College, or programs in the northern part of the state related to the oil and gas industry. We have the opportunity to pay for folks to go to that training or to get a regular college degree and a master's degree and become a manager or foreman in the industry.
What's the typical? Just curious, as you're talking, I'm thinking, and the thought comes to mind. What's the typical commitment that one has to make when they join the Guard today? Is it a 1 year or 2 year?
Normally, it's a 6-year commitment.
6 year,
and it will depend upon the type of specialty that you go into, as well as to the certain levels of commitment, but normally a 6-year commitment to the Guard.
And the educational opportunities and personal growth and development are just unlimited.
Absolutely. Not only do you get your military training and that discipline and things that go with that, but you also have the opportunity for education using that tuition reimbursement, your GI Bill, and other veterans assistance opportunities that are out there.
You mentioned a few moments ago General Tackett and his retirement a year ago or so now. You're sure following in some pretty large footprints there.
Absolutely, and I had the great opportunity to spend 25 years working with Alan Tackett, 15 of those as a full-time member of his staff, and he gave me a great opportunity to carry on this vision that we have for making the Guard the best military organization in the country, and something that West Virginia can truly be proud of, and that we can leverage for greater opportunities for the state.
As you know, we've enjoyed the General's involvement with us within the coal industry. He was employed within the industry for a number of years as well. We're about out of time, General. Thanks so much for coming by today to enlighten us on Joint Base West Virginia. We look so forward to working with you going forward here.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Thank you. And we are out of time, and thanks again for watching this episode of the Coal Seam on the Library Television Network.